Fabulous.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, one and all. So whether you are listening to the live or on YouTube, wherever you are, or if you're listening back to the recording, welcome. Okay. So I think last week's show was pretty good. So I thought I'd do the next bit in this occult thinking, if you like, if you want to call it that. That's what I like to call it. So this week, I'm going to be talking about delving deeper. So last week was all about the unraveling yourself. Yeah. So this week, delving deeper. So we're going to talk about self-inquiry, innovation, and labeling the labels. Or you could say unlabeling and relabeling the labels. So delving deeper, self-inquiry. Okay, so some of you will know what self-inquiry, what I'm talking about when I talk about self-inquiry. Some of you might not know what that means. So essentially, self-inquiry is, so the question you could ask yourself when you are doing self-inquiry is, how does the programmed voice in my head affect my magical workings? So when I say magical workings, I don't mean you have to do ritual 24/7. Yeah, we're always creating magic because we are creator beings. Yeah. So how does the program voice in my head affect my magical work? So that's certainly a question you can ask yourself on this journey. Yeah. But essentially delving deeper, for me anyway, usually involves facing the fear matrix and the particular things that trigger you in that matrix. Yeah. You could say it's like becoming the archaeologist of your mind. So, this is challenging stuff. Yeah. Because who wants to look at that stuff that is lurking, beneath the stones, when you lift up a stone, what do you usually get? You usually get things crawling around in there, don't you? So yeah, I challenge you to push your own buttons. Don't let someone else push them for you. Push your own buttons, yeah, to see what is kind of hindering your synchro-mystic illuminated path, yeah. And you kind of get an idea from, what is hindering you and how you respond to that. So the flipping it is usually, the flip side of that is usually what your soul wants to express. Okay. So delving deeper really means, really means getting real with yourself. Yeah. Know thyself, essentially. Yeah. So self-inquiry, again, from my own personal experience, it gives you permission to ditch the things that no longer serve you. So a really good way to tell the difference between what no longer serves you and what nurtures and nourishes you. Yeah. Does it make you feel, my word is happy-go-lucky? Yeah. Does it bring that kind of energy? Or does it bring an energy of, the opposite of that, which would be, I don't know what the opposite of that would be, but it's kind of that melancholia, if you like. That's not to say that, when you're going through this journey, you won't experience the flip side of happy-go-lucky. Because sometimes when you're looking right directly at that fear matrix, it can trigger you a little, yeah, or a lot. But it's if it lingers, if it stays around, then you're not quite on the right track. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So, yeah, ditching the things that don't serve your soul and how it wants to express itself then leaves room for the things that do nurture you. Yeah. So never forget, energy flows where attention goes. So where are you placing your attention, your energy? Yeah. And you can also ask yourself this question: what are you really fearful of? Bearing in mind that the fear matrix is more of an overlay than the true nature of things, which is love consciousness. Yeah. So I think the biggest fear we have, and we all face it, is the word death. Yeah. But we don't. Do we really know what that is? Well, we can postulate and we can speculate, and we can have an idea of what it might be, but essentially, until we get there, do we really know what the death of the physical body, if you like? Do we really know what that is? And I would even argue, a little interjection there, that will there even be, if we are on a path of ascension, will there even be a death of the physical body? Personally, I don't believe there will be. But hey, I might be proven wrong. So what we can see, so we might not know what death is, essentially, but what we can see and what we experience is that there is intelligent design in this world, in this realm, in this domain. So if there is intelligent design, wouldn't that mean that there is something else, something non-physical beyond what people call death? Otherwise, why would there be intelligent design? If there was no intelligent design, then, physical death, done, bang, done, gone, yeah? But that's not what we observe, I would say, yeah? We observe, in nature. Nature is our biggest teacher, as we know. There's intelligent design there. There's intelligent design in this physical vessel, yeah? So there has to be something beyond what people call death, yeah? Has to be. So this idea of delving deeper, this is the great work for a start, yeah? This is it's eternal, if you like, because as I was saying last week, every time you go up a step, there will be stuff there that, well, you don't have to work through it, but it's a journey through those steps, yeah? So even when we are ascended, there will still be more. There will still be, it's a cycle, it's a spiral of a journey, yeah? So it breathes, if you like. And what I would say, this kind of occult thinking, it does eventually become second nature. If you learn to practice it, you don't, there's no more practice. It just is, yeah? So a few of the really good ways to delve deeper through self-inquiry is by doing ancestor work. Now you can do this through guided meditation, path working, or rituals, or just standard meditations. And what I'll do, I have written it down to go and grab the links to a couple of meditations that we've got, which really help to access that subconscious part of your being that contains all the like Windows 10, that operating system, all the things that are going on in the background underneath, yeah. So self-inquiry. So for us as witches and occultists, self-inquiry is both physical and metaphysical magic, yeah. So they work in tandem. And there are more ways to self-inquire than there are leaves on all the trees. So there are no rules for self-inquiry, yeah, because it's your journey. So you might take something like, one of the meditations I'm going to share in the group, but you might think, well, I didn't quite, that bit there didn't quite work for me. So what I'll do is I'll take that and I'll make my own, which is, that's what it's all about. So the non-physical aspects of self-inquiry can challenge us. And I think they challenge us sometimes more than the physical, unless you're climbing Mount Everest, of course. Although that is a mental challenge as well. It's a challenge on many levels, yeah. Not that I'm ever going to climb Mount Everest. So the key is to temporarily, until it becomes second nature, take what you are doing literally, yeah. So it's an exercise in completely suspending your disbelief, yeah, until it becomes second nature. So I suppose a bit like, what would be an example? If you were learning to play an instrument, for example, when you're practicing, you might not feel like Jimi Hendrix, but you can play along with Jimi Hendrix. You might not be playing the right notes, but you get the feeling, yeah, because a lot of this kind of, if you like, rewiring your brain, making those new pathways. Neuroplasticity is what it used to be called. I don't know if it's still called that or not. You know what they're like these days, changing things all over the place. But essentially you're rewiring your brain, yeah. The brain is an organ of the body, by the way. Okay. So yeah, I'm waffling now. So yeah, take what you're doing literally. So whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's ancestor work, ritual, whatever, yeah. So some of the things that we have found useful for self-inquiry, like the physical stuff, walking in nature, for example, yoga, kundalini practice. One of the things that we did in 2012, and we were very driven and we didn't know why, was visiting ancient sites, walking the ancient pathways that our ancestors would have walked. It was a huge, a lot of it was done in 2012, but then, from that, we then, wherever we went, we would go and find an ancient site. And it was a mission. It was a big mission. And what I think what we were doing, because that was 2012, is and some of these places weren't nice to visit, I have to say. They had very odd energies about them. Stonehenge was one of them. And I'd visited Stonehenge before and never got that energy. But in 2012, it was off the charts. It was quite strange. But one of the things that we kind of, in retrospect, when we looked at that, because we were very driven to do that and we didn't know why we were doing it. But what I think we were doing in some way, shape or form is we were, I don't know, charging those places, clearing those places. I don't know. But there was definitely some form of an activation going on when we were visiting those places, especially at Stonehenge. So other physical things you can do with self-inquiry is dance, doing a witch walk. Val's here. So Val did a witch walk in a camper van recently. That's an amazing way to do self-inquiry. That's phenomenal, yeah. Even slightly tweaking your daily routine to something more aligned to what you actually want to experience is self-inquiry, yeah. Or even challenging yourself physically. Like, I know I used, pardon me, Everest as an example, but you don't need to go and climb Mount Everest. You could, I don't know, if you do a daily walk, stretch it out, do more, yeah, or get some hill climbing in there, whatever it is. Challenging yourself physically is a really good way for self-inquiry. The non-physical, the metaphysical stuff, meditation, obviously, really tapping into your intuition. So really learning how to let go and stay open to whatever's coming your way. And believe me, that is not easy with all the weirdness that is going on out there at the moment. It's that is challenging, I have to say. Creativity, and not being scared to express that creativity. Channeling an emotional response into an outcome. Now, what do I mean by that? I have the perfect example. So this was quite a few years ago. We were on our way on a camping trip with the kids and the dog, and on the way I got a phone call from my neighbour saying, I've just seen someone nick your Buddhas out of your garden. How weird. We actually named him the Buddha thief. And so on the train, I'm really trying to ring the police. And I was incensed, that someone would steal Buddhas out of a garden. I mean, where do you even start with that? But anyway, I was so incensed. But what I realised is I could use that big energy, that very powerful, potent energy that was building up inside me. So what I did, essentially, in a metaphysical sense, I contained it. And I knew as soon as we got to camp, we put the tent up and Ian would build a fire. So I knew I had to contain it. It's probably a couple of hours. I contained this energy, and then I wrote a spell for this person to be caught. And so as soon as the fire was lit, I wrote my spell and I poured all that energy, that contained energy, into that and burnt it. And he was actually, funny enough, he was arrested. He was tackled by the police at the point of the pentagram we had gridded our garden with. So it wasn't just for stealing Buddhas, by the way. He had a load of things that he went to court for, and he was put in prison. So there we go. That's how you do that. So if you can contain that very high energy, until, and I wouldn't suggest containing it for more than a couple of 3 hours, because it's challenging to do that, but it can be done. Also tapping into deity, elemental energy, mantra, affirmations, chanting, very good metaphysical practice for self-inquiry. And I would challenge you, if you're going to do a mantra, do it for an hour. You will find all those different things that come up if you're chanting a mantra for an hour. It's very interesting. And what's really weird as well is your voice changes as you go through those challenges. It's very interesting. You can also use tools such as crystals or oils or incense, and obviously divination for self-inquiry. That's why the tarot is amazing. Now, what's interesting is what I'm just about to talk about here is very reminiscent of the star card that we talked about on Tuesday. I've written it in big letters, star card. And you'll see why in a minute. So when you begin this self-inquiry, you are likely to meet resistance. That's the programmed voice in your brain's going, I don't know you don't want to do that. You don't want to be thinking, oh, I don't know why you're doing that for, but you need to stop it right now. Exactly. And that can come in emotional, mental, physical bumps in the road, on your path. So think of it like a blocked toilet. Yeah. It can become a bit yucky. And I don't know why I've said toilet there, because anyway, so it can, so in the physical, in this dense physical body that we're in, it can cause discomfort in the physical and the energetic body. So what I would say about that is it comes in energetically first, and then when it lands in your physical body, that's the last port of call before it leaves, if you are able to let it leave. So I would say, so one of the things I do every day, sometimes twice a day, grounding, clearing that channel that's grounding, the grounding conduit, if you like. So grounding, clearing that, I usually chuck a ball of fire down there. Call back my light from any place, person, thing, time, space that I've left anything, because that's what we do. It's like a fingerprint, when we go anywhere or speak to anyone, we leave a little energetic print, so call that back every day. So that's kind of the plunger that unblocks the toilet. That's why I use the toilet. Yes, it's like a plunger, so if you can, do the grounding, cleanse your aura. That's the other thing I do. And I've started using the violet tornado to do that. I was getting a bit bored with the raking, so I just do the violet tornado and it's done. So that's your plunger right there. And then you call back your light, and you have literally restored yourself, and then as the energy moves through you, because everything's moving through us all the time, and I'd say it's neutrinos. If we're on this ascension path, for me that's neutrinos 100%. So as this energy moves through us, it can move through us without hindrance when our vessel, the whole vessel, not just the physical vessel, is clear. And a big part of that is the grounding. So this circuit of divine energy ebbs and flows. It breathes, essentially. And for me, divine source energy, which is creative energy, comes from the Mother Earth and comes up to the heart. Your inspiration from, you could say, Father Sky or the void, comes down. So they meet at the heart, so you've got incoming energy from the earth and energy coming down, and it's like the again in the star card the other day, the two fingers, the 2 points meet, and that for me is what ignites your light, and it's a balance. Excuse me. So this, sorry, I've lost my place in my notes. So the heart center, the heart energy center, I say that's why it's crucial to work on that area, because that's, if you are expressing your soul's desires from the heart, then that needs to be clear. Otherwise, what you then project out becomes distorted. Think of it like a dirty window. You can't see the light coming in as well through a dirty window as you can through a clear window. Skipping ahead here. Grounding. The other thing that grounding work will also do is it regulates that flow of energy on the physical, the energetic, mental and emotional planes, if you want to call it that, which makes your energy levels more consistent. And I know this for a fact because, pardon me, I used to be one of those people that start projects and never finish them. Couldn't get anything finished because my energy would drop very quickly after I started. Yeah. Until I started, because in any of my charts, soul realignment, all of those things, in my soul blueprint, there is nothing grounded at all. So I have to actively work on grounding, yeah, to keep my energy consistent. But, only you can choose, for example, in meditation, to open up more for this energetic intensity, if you want to call it that, to increase. Yeah. So when you come from this very grounded place, you will see all angles. I put all angels. Should be angles, but hey, of a situation. So it's that balance, yeah? It's the observer space. And what that does as well, so when you are in observer space, you can actually bring polarity into your magical workings because you are centered, you are grounded, you are not affected by the polarities, yeah? But you can bring them into your magical workings, and then when they're done, you release them. It's very interesting. So self-inquiry also aids you in embodying this ebb and flow of everything, this energy. Yeah. It's in nature, it's in the planets, it's in our own bodies. Yeah. It's in our emotional journey. And even when we're taking a journey that's more physical, like climbing Mount Everest, for example. Yeah. And this ebb and flow is a direct correlation to our own minds as well. So the ebb is the absorption, the subconscious mind, and the flow is the release, or the conscious mind. Yeah. So this ebb and flow is at its peak when we are being guided by our soul or spirit, higher selves, higher consciousness, whatever you want to call it, part of you that's bigger and sees everything. And that's the bridge between the ebb and the flow, between the subconscious and the conscious minds, is the middle pillar. That is that place of stillness, that non-duality, that centeredness, non-judgment, non-reactivity, I would probably call it, observation. Yeah. And when you come to your third eye, through that non-polarized energy, through delving deeper and, unraveling yourself and all that lovely stuff, you will see everything. And I experienced that in meditation one day. I was in the yoga show, of all places, very busy space, and I was sitting in the yurt that they used to have in the middle of the space. And I was just in meditation, just sitting there, and I got a very clear feeling and image. It was like, pardon me, I was climbing, because I always, whenever I tried to look up at my third eye in meditation, it always felt like it was really far away. Yeah. But then during this meditation, when I did that, it's like I was climbing a ladder and I opened like a porthole and I was looking out through my third eye. And ever since then, whenever I look up to my third eye in meditation, it's like I don't even have to look up. It's just there, which is, it's quite amazing, quite amazing. So as a little aside, yeah, your pineal gland, the third eye, yeah, is actually a collection of optical calcite, which is why it enables you to see everything as optical calcite is a refractor and a focuser of light. Very interesting. So, question for you to ask yourself: do I see things through my third eye? Interesting. So, other ways you can tap into the ebb and flow is by tuning into elemental magic. Because you can ask them to lend to you their energy and then you return it when you're done. But I would say when you come to your life from a place of love consciousness and not the fear matrix, you're coming from your natural state of being. And I've spoken about this before. Rather than a state of heightened survival. Yeah. So love equals ease and fear equals struggle and battle. Yeah. And as we know, so a word like exuberance, for example, yeah, it says, it's a bit of onomatopoeia there. It says how it is, yeah. So the word exuberance flows toward ease and not struggle, yeah. So even in the words, we know words are spells, yeah. So even in the words that you use, it's self-inquiry, yeah. And when you come from a place of love consciousness, it does imply genuine growth, which is expansive and it keeps on expanding from the inside. Yeah. So delving deeper by self-inquiry will certainly bring you to a place of expanded wisdom. Like the tree. So the tree gets the majority of its nutrients when growing and expanding from its roots. So water the roots, not the leaves. Nurture your roots for the growth to happen. Yeah. So the fear matrix, I was skipping ahead in my notes there. The fear matrix actually blocks you. It hinders you, yeah, because it's restrictive. It's not expansive. It's extraordinarily reactive, yeah. So when you resist, that's what you're getting, yeah. And we know that what you resist persists. So if you're battling fear, yeah, it will grow as you are actively giving it attention. But if you learn to hold a space for it, so acknowledge it, and I've done this myself, and then what you can do literally is you can open a door for it and say, okay, you don't belong here anymore. I see you, I recognize you, I know what you are, but you don't belong here anymore. You can leave, and you can allow it to leave. And you can literally do that. I do that with pain in the body sometimes. Literally open a door at the spot where the pain is and say something like what I just said, leave, and pain is gone. Quite incredible. So if you can hold a space for it as the observer, and kind of go into it, yeah, you can channel it into your desired outcome if you choose. And what I would say is, when we take on this challenge, yeah, some people say, well, what if you fail? Well, those failures, for want of a better word, yeah, are opportunities to be more grounded. What is it teaching you? It's teaching you to ground more. It's teaching you to be open more, yeah. And I know that's not easy. I know that, yeah. But believe me, from my own experience, that's exactly what it asks you to do, yeah. It asks you to be grounded more. It asks you to open your heart even more. It asks you to step into that stillness even more. Yeah, I know it. Okay, so innovation. So in terms of delving deeper and self-inquiry, what is innovation? What is innovation doing in there? So innovation is pure magic, yeah, and it's everywhere, yeah. So when you are able to be the observer, you can take teachings from anyone. Like a bee seeks nectar from all kinds of flowers, seek teachings everywhere. Yeah. So you can literally take teachings from any time, place, thing without getting entangled in the thing itself. Quantum entanglement. Yeah. So innovation is that hunger to for being able to do something in a different and more aligned way. Yeah. Innovation is movement. It is the present and the future, but also the past, as we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, which is why ancestor work is, for me, very important. Yeah. Even if it's just at the start of your journey. Yeah. It's important. It's recognize whose shoulders you're standing on. Yeah. In order to reinvent the present in a way which is relevant to us now. Yeah. And now is the perfect time for innovation in this energy of ascension. Yeah. For creativity and for getting our message out there. You know, if it wasn't for a little bit of technology, I wouldn't be talking to you now, for example. So your innovation and how you navigate your non-physical and physical magic work will be absolutely unique to you, yeah, and to your creativity. The physical aspect of innovation is done through experimentation, experiencing new and different things, and even changing your physicality, your health, and the physical things you do every day, yeah. So just making a small tweak, it's like on a map, if you make a 1 degree, like, what's the word, tweak on your journey, eventually when you go down the path, it ends up being a big change. Yeah. That's how it works. Oh, intention. Hang on. Blah, blah, blah. Notes. Yeah, on the metaphysical aspect, innovation is through experiencing genuine feelings via your experiences linked to your intention. So intention is 99% of universal law. Yeah. Genuine feelings are very powerful. They're a very powerful magical tool, which, as I was talking to you earlier, you can hold them and channel them for your purpose. Yeah. Innovation will also reflect the times that you live in. So the people, places, things, the topography, yeah, will look very different now to what it did in the 1940s, for example. It looks very, very different. And innovation can bring up resistance, which can manifest in all manner of forms. So from procrastination to not even being able to not even being able to see the physical thing. Yeah. Sci-fi and UFOs are huge examples of innovation and consciousness expansion as well, which can bring up resistance. But when you let go of that resistance, you will see those things that look miraculous. And I've seen at least 2 that I can absolutely identify that were not anything else in the sky but UFOs. Yeah, or whatever they call them now. And you know when you're looking at something that is not a plane or a helicopter or well, this was before drones as well, so I know it wasn't a drone. Where was I? So yeah, when you let go of that resistance, you begin to see the things that you couldn't see before. Yeah. So resistance is the fear of the unknown. So letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, strolling, yeah, strolling through your experiences. Yeah. If you look at it that way, it's quite nice. Staying receptive to the possibilities. Yeah. It's quite amazing. Yeah, and my last bit on innovation is about so innovation is about being an unraveled trailblazer, because you can't innovate if you're still stuck in the box, yeah, of the programmed voice in your head. You can't, because you'll just be repeating the patterns, the programs of the voice in your head. Yeah, get out of the box. So, labeling or unlabeling and labeling the labels. So labels are a form of keeping us in that box, yeah, at the most negative level. And some labels, as we were discussing before we came live, you know, the label of woman. Oh my God, what a can of worms that is now, and it was a can of worms before. So a lot of words have very powerful thought forms attached to them, yeah. And they can be challenging to shake those off and just observe, yeah. But labels are only a form of energy, and you are the powerful creator of your experience, yeah. And energy morphs. We know that because energy can move from a liquid to a gas, from a solid to a liquid, from a gas to a solid. So energy is affected and changed by the act of being observed. We know that, quantum physics, double slit experiment, yeah. So we have the divine power to change our world, but it starts with you, the inner work, the great work, yeah. So I'm putting it out there. So if energy is mathematics, manifesting as light, sound, heat, movement, kinetic, static, vibration, frequency, matter, so it's chameleonic, I think that's a word, it is now, then that means you are as well. You are a chameleon. You are a shapeshifter. Ah. So now we're getting underneath, yeah? So what does that even mean? Well, it means you are changeable. You can change your labels when you are coming from this centered point, this depolarized point, yeah, the middle pillar, and you can swap them out and then come back to yourself when you're done. It's a bit like an actor. A good actor knows how to come back to center, and I know this because I was trained in that particular art form. So you can go off and be, you know, whatever you want to be, and you come back to center, you come back to you. Yeah, a good actor knows how to do that. Bad actor gets wrapped up so much in that character that they're playing, they can't get out of it. Yeah, that's polarization. So summarize. I have waffled quite a bit. Manifesting the non-physical into the physical in a way which is unique to you. So if you have an idea, a concept, write it down, make a plan, take physical steps, so steps in the physical realm, yeah, towards it. And that could be anything, yeah. And the vibration that where you're going, the vibration that that outcome has begins to resonate in you. That makes sense. So things that can help with that: ritual, sigils, working on the subconscious. So all this stuff that I've been talking about, yeah, and allowing your receptivity in that love consciousness alignment to bring you what you need to thrive. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. And, you know, as an amazing chameleon that you are, you can get funky with your labels. Yeah. It's like, you know, oops. It's like, you know, me talking about, for example, being a being of light, I don't know, 20 years ago. Probably gone, I don't know about that. That's not been my experience so far. But it's a very different experience I'm having now. Yeah. Even doing this right now. When I first started posting videos of myself doing magical work on YouTube, there's a very different person at the beginning of that journey to now. Yeah, very different person. Completely different, not even the same person anymore. So I know that change is possible. I know that. So certainly get funky with your labels, yeah? So if you wanted to do this as an exercise, you could write down all the labels that you feel that are attached to you in your life. All of them, yeah? Leave nothing out. And then, you know, have a look at the ones that elicit a very strong response when you speak them, yeah? And just make a note of those reactions. And I would say take the ones that elicit the strongest reactions, like if they're negative reactions, pardon me, or they make you feel the fear matrix, yeah? And then really get to work on flipping it, yeah? How can you reframe it? How can you see it from a different perspective, yeah? Try it. It's quite interesting. Anything else that I want to say around delving deeper? Or one of the things you can do actually is you can use banishing. When you write down those things that trigger you, write them down, yeah? Burn them, banish them. It's very powerful, yeah? So yeah, reframing that energy of that label, reframe it to something which actually is in alignment with you, yeah? It can be done. And, you know, you might not get it first time, but keep doing it. You know, I know we live in a world of, you know, instant gratification, but yeah, sometimes you need to put a little bit of work in. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to throw it open. I don't know where everyone's gone. Everyone's disappeared.
Hey up, Angie.
Hello.
Yeah, we lost Litmus and Val.
Oh dear, never mind. Did you have any musings?
You basically, what you've said is what I've always said, but in a different way, but said the same thing. One of the things, and I've mentioned this before in different shows as well, is that you should always work, that there are good aspects to you and there are bad aspects to you within, that your personality, your mind, your soul, whatever you want to call it, from within.
Yeah.
And the good aspects of you are great. They don't need any work. They will continue to be the good aspects of you no matter what. The bad aspects of you are the ones that if you don't focus attention on, they will manifest themselves and become more and overtake the good aspects of yourself. So rather than just concentrating on the good aspects and just reveling in the good aspects of yourself, you've got to do however you phrased it in this time. You didn't say the what was it now?
The fear matrix.
No, the inner work.
The great work.
So you've got this inner self, and there are bad aspects to everybody within us, and you need to focus attention early on those bad aspects to maybe not get rid rid of them entirely, because they will probably never go entirely. However, make them less of a burden upon yourself, so that you can flourish in the good parts of yourself naturally. So it makes more sense. And the other thing as well is the one thing that popped into my head, and I've seen it a couple of times today in various different feeds. And that is that without light, there is only darkness. If you close your eyes from the light, all you see is darkness unless you focus and go deeper, and then you'll start seeing the inner light. So the light from without is also the light from within, and vice versa. It's if you take the sun away, that big ball of flaming whatever's out there, if that did not exist, we would be in a perpetual state of darkness and freezing. It would be very cold. And it's that sense of light that brings life to everything. It's that sun, heat, energy, that even at night time, we experience glimpses of it at night when the sun goes down and there's no clouds in the sky. And it's very, very cold, and it's a lot colder in some places on the earth than anywhere else. So, we might experience sort of like, 5 degrees, 0, -5, but there are some places that experience far, far colder. But there is no sun. As soon as the sun appears, then the temperature rises, things start to happen, and that's the same within yourself.
Absolutely.
So, if you just focus only on the bad and don't let any light in, you will become cold, you will become distant, you will become depressed, you will become, there are lots and lots of different ways it will manifest itself. But if you find that balance between letting the good flourish, focusing on the bad so they don't become worse, and keep them tamed, if you will, keep them, at bay. And you find that, but you've got to do that yourself. Nobody else can do that.
Absolutely.
I had a neighbour a few years back who was a self-confessed alcoholic, and she started telling me that she was going to go to these rehab places, and they were going to strip everything back, and they were going to go find out what triggers her, find out why she drinks when she drinks, etc., etc. So I asked her, I said, so what are they going to do then? They're going to find out what triggers you to drink? And she said, yes. So I asked her, well, when you're not drinking, what are you thinking about? And she said, this, that, and the other. I says, so, and when you want a drink, what are you thinking about? And she looked at me as if, I had 5 heads. And I'm like, well, surely you are the only person on the face of the earth that knows what triggers you. You know what you're thinking, you know what you're feeling, you know what you're going through at that point of triggerment.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's like when you want a fag. When you're focused on something, and I'm an ex-smoker, I used to smoke 20, 30, 40 fags a day.
Wow.
But if I went 2 or 3 days without a cigarette, there would be certain triggers that would instantly make me want to have a fag. Now, it's not I didn't not know what they were. I perfectly knew what was triggering me. And it's that knowledge, it's that information. So the only person that can diagnose yourself is you.
Absolutely.
You are the expert of you. You just have to dig in and find it.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want to be doing that. They either don't have the time because they're very busy, or they really don't want to.
Yeah, but you can do it when you're sat on the toilet. You can do it when you're eating your tea. You can do it when you're driving the car. There's many times throughout the day. You can do it when you're at work and you've got one of them mundane jobs where you're sat at a desk and you're on a repetitive thing. Your mind can be somewhere else, but you're continually doing a repetitive task. So you can do the work then. So there's plenty of opportunities throughout the day, no matter how old you are. The younger you start, the better, obviously. If you can get that work done early in life, then it frees you up for the rest of your life. If you're starting when you're 60, it's never too late, but, crack on.
Absolutely. And I do think, sometimes people will do anything. And I know this myself because I used to, if I had something I had to do, I would do everything like, but that one thing. Everything else would get done, things I hadn't done for years, but that one thing would still be sitting there. So it's like, it's an excuse. And it's always a choice.
And that's part of the bad aspects of what work needs to be done. So if you are aware of that, you can then concentrate on that and do or take steps to improve that or make it less of an issue. And it's tiny steps. You can't do it overnight. And you just change little things.
Absolutely.
If you're a smoker and you want to quit, have one less fag a day. Limit yourself to 20 a day. Then limit yourself after a few months to 10 a day. And slowly, but you can't do it overnight. If you suddenly stop, bang, you're going to want to fag the first thing as soon as you wake up. So but there's only you knows who you are and how your personality works and how your thinking works.
Absolutely.
And you can sit there and talk to other people about it and you can listen to advice and everything else. But unless you do the work yourself, unless you look with it,
it's not going to go anywhere, is it?
It's not, exactly. It's always going to be there unless you do something about it yourself for you.
Absolutely.
But I'm that kind of person as well, though. I will sit and ponder something and run different scenarios through my mind about whatever it is I want to do. It might be building a shelf. It might be something practical, like building a shelf or putting up a shelf, or rearranging the furniture, or I will always think things through. I'll always sort of contemplate. It might take me a few weeks, but then when I put my mind to actually doing the task, I've already played it out several times in my mind, so I just know what I'm going to be doing, and that's one of the ways that I sort of focus my attention and do things. And so it might take me a little longer. Other people do it differently, and they'll do it quicker. But for me, I know how I work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you've got to focus on, your strengths.
Absolutely.
So that you can get things done, work on yourself, and get a positive outcome.
Yeah, start moving forward is what I would say. On your path. Eh?
Yeah. Well, we're coming up to 7 o'clock almost. There's a minute to go on this one. This clock.
Do I have any famous last words? Okay, yeah. Okay. So my last words. So this idea of the great work, the delving deeper, yeah. So focusing on your life rather than what someone else out there may be doing to affect you, yeah. Because in actual fact, what anyone else thinks about you is none of your business anyway. Yeah, it's their shit. So focusing on your life is certainly the better use of your time and your energy, your attention, yeah. Rather than giving them your power, especially if that person is not particularly nice. And if they're trying to put a negative charge on you, then just backhand it back to them with a positive charge. Yeah. Love, not fear. And don't forget, energy flows where attention goes. And shine no matter what.